This is Blender 12, Rigging 3. This tutorial is going to go over how to make a simple humanoid rig using this pre-made character. All the concepts you learn can be applied to any human or any character that you make. It's just a level of complexity after that. So before I do anything else, I'm going to turn on Draw Edges and switch this to wireframe, and what that does is I'll guarantee that we see all the different edges. Sometimes if they disappear, you just need to toggle this. Reason being is we're going to align the different vertices, different bones up to different points, and we want to be able to see where the edges are. So select the button and snap the cursor down to the button, and then we're going to add our first bone here. So we're going to go add armature, single bone, and there we go. And now on the side view, we want to make sure that we move this so that it's centered inside the body. That's all the basics we really need on that. We're going to go in and rename this, and so this is bone right now. We're going to call it root bone, and make sure that that's there. And then we're going to go into edit mode, and let me maximize this. We're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to select this single bone. I'll select the whole thing, and then we're going to go on and do subdivide, and that'll cut this in half, so now we have two separate bones. I'm going to take this bottom, and I'm going to move it up to where basically the neck meets the shoulder, and then I'm going to take the point above it, and I'm going to center that with the eyes. This one's a little arbitrary up here, but just to get it set up. Now this top bone I want to call head bone. So we got head bone, and then we got root bone. Now I'm going to go back and select the base, which is pretty well the base of the root bone. And I'm going to do some modifications on this. And first thing I'm going to do is we'll make sure that we have this selected, and I'm going to pull up armature options. X-axis mirror, I'm going to turn this on, and this is going to help us to make the arms and the legs so that when we draw on one side, it automatically draws on the other side. The way to do this is if I hit E, it extrudes, and you'll see it only goes out one side. So what we want to do is we actually want to extrude out both sides. So Shift and E is the modifier, and you'll see the instant we do that, we get 2. And now I can hit E now that I have it parallel, and it'll automatically extrude each one. And then I can come and I can move this. So we'll grab these and we'll pull these up, and that's basically and then we'll line this up where the elbow is supposed to be, and then this one will go up for the hands. And now we have the arms. Now these aren't currently parented to anything, so we want to parent this and make sure that this is parent to the root bone. And then we want to select this one and make sure that that's parent to the root bone as well. Now you'll look at the nomenclature, and you'll see this is root bone underscore L, and this is root bone underscore R. The underscore R and the underscore L is how this X-axis mirror actually knows how to do the two. So if you don't have this suffix on both things, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to come in and change root and change it to upper arm, and then I'll come over and do this one and change this one to, okay, now I got both of them the same. Come over here, do the same thing here, and then this is going to be lower arm, and because it's a duplicate, I added everything, and there we go on that one. And then we're going to do the same thing on here, lower arm, and get rid of those. We have that set up. And just to confirm, if I move this, I move that. If I move this, I move that. So we know everything's good with that. So I'm going to go back to the base again, or the center point with the root, and I'm going to do Shift-D second time, and now we're going to do the thighs, and then extrude again, and then the lower legs. So let me move up and in. So I'm going to take these and center those in the legs, take the knee part and center that, and then take this and pull it down to the feet. And then we'll do the renaming again. So this is going to be lower leg bone, and this is going to be upper leg bone. Okay, and then this is going to be upper leg bone, and this one's going to be lower leg bone. Okay, and that's, oh, and we gotta parent these. So parent that to the root bone, and parent this to the root bone, and now everything is hooked up and we have the basic bones in place. So now we can exit out, and we're just gonna move this, so I'm gonna hit M, and we're gonna move the entire armature to its own layer so that we don't have to worry about the geometry and it doesn't get in the way while we're working on everything else. Next thing we want to do is we want to actually add what's called, we want to straighten up all the bones, because right now they're all twisted. So if we go back to edit mode, you'll see all these rolls are set to something other than they should be. And because everything's hooked up with symmetry, it'll, once you fix the one side, the other side's going to fix, which makes life easier. 0. And grab that one's fine, this one should be fine. Okay, so that's all fixed. Now we want to create what are called preferred angles. So in the top view, I have the elbow, and what we want to do is, right now this is perfectly straight, so when we do the IK, which is the handle is going to push the hand in, the elbow is going to pop, and right now the computer doesn't know whether or not to pop the elbow this way or that way. This is the front of the gingerbread, this is the back, so we actually want the elbow to point towards the back. And this actually sticks out a little if we pull the geometry back up, but the bones don't render, so it's not a big deal. It's not something to worry about. So we've just created what's called a preferred angle. In some programs you have to explicitly assign it, but with this one we just kind of set it up. And now we're going to go into the side view, and we're going to do the same thing. Now for the knee, we don't want the knee to pop back. We actually want the knee to bend forward a little bit. And now if I look, you'll see that we have that set up, and now we have the knee, so we have the preferred angle. It's a subtle thing, but it can break a rig if you don't do it. And now we're ready to add some controls to get this all hooked up. So first control we're going to add is one that's basically going to be the root control, and this will control basically the pelvis. So we're going to do add, and I'm just going to use a curve for this circle. So you'll see it looks kind of like a hula hoop. And then we're just going to call this root control. And then this is going to be the parent of the armature. So we'll select the armature, we'll select the root control, and then we will just do object, parent, object, object, and we have that all hooked up. And now if I grab this and I move around, everything else goes with it. Now I'm going to copy this, so let me do this in front view, Shift D, and let's make sure we got it lined up with the feet. And you might have to adjust this a little, but we'll get it pretty darn close. But what this is this is going to be the master control, and this has everything hooked up to it and parented to it. And what you do with this is, right when you start the animation, you basically will position this wherever you want to, and everything else will position it, and then you can scale it. So it's basically the tool you use to position, scale, and get the character set up before you do any animation. So that's going to be the master parent. So we selected the root control, and now we're going to select that one, the master control, and we're going to parent those, object. Now those are hooked up, and let's turn on the names for that and name for that, so we can actually see what our controls are and what's going on with them. Next one is to do the feet. So we're going to zoom in, grab the rig, the armature, go into edit mode and select one of the feet. And then we're going to snap the cursor to selected and get out of edit mode. And then we're going to add a curve and a circle. Now this is obviously gigantic and we need to do this, so I'm going to hit S for scale, scale it down a little, and then I can do some non-uniform scaling and kind of create it so it kind of mimics a footprint. And we will call this, this is the, let me confirm that this is the left side. This is a part I always kind of forget. Okay, so that's the right, so it should actually be foot ik _r. And then if we want, we can just copy this. The value is 0.41, 0.40. So if we do Shift D, copy, and then we do negative, oh come on. There we go. Okay, so we got that set up, so that's on the other side. And now if we look, now we have both of those in place. And what we'll do with these is these are actually going to be used for IK. And once we set up the IK chain. So we got that one in place. And let's turn on the name so that's visible. And we'll come into this one and do the same thing. Turn on the name so it's visible. And now we have those. So the next ones we need are basically for the hands. So I'll go up and zoom in, select the armature, go into edit mode, select the tip, armature, snap, cursor to selected, and get out of edit mode and add a empty, and I'm just going to do the cube, and that's obviously way too big. So we'll go in and knock this size down to 0.25, and now we have a cube that's facing around that. And we're going to rename that cube. This will be right arm IK right. And that's all we need to do. Let's pull up the name for that one. And then we'll look at the value of its position. So it's roughly 1.51. So Shift D. The other thing you could do is you could also select that point right there. No, you'd have to relocate the cursor. Okay, and left, and now we have that set up. And then we need one more for the head. We're going to grab the very base of the head. You might want to modify this, but just for this demo, it's easier. You could subdivide the head into two pieces. You get some weird behavior issues, so technically the head is going to be always naming the aim control you're going to use to point the head is actually going to be parallel with the neck. So technically it's a little off, but anything more advanced is going to be a little trickier to do. So we'll snap once again, snap, cursor to selection, get out of this mode, add, we're going to add an empty, and we'll do a sphere this time, and shrink this down considerably. And we're going to call this the head target and make the name visible. And I'm just using different shapes. I mean, the shapes are kind of arbitrary. And then if we look at the side, I'm going to actually pull that out a little so that it's actually in front of the face where we can actually see it in aim. So that's the initial setup.